When your important aging loved one is in the hospital, 5 important things to know and do. And the first one is be present as much as possible. Be there in the hospital. Be an advocate for your person. So if they haven't gotten their pain medications, and a significant amount of time has passed and you've been pressing the button and you're not getting a response, it is okay to be a strong advocate. I think some people think this, let me just bust this myth. If you're asking for help and seeking attention for your loved one, it is untrue that you will get lesser care and lesser attention. I do this every day, and what I find is, in particular, when I know people's names, I will also do something that I learned from my elder care coordinator, and that is, "Hi, how is your day going today?" That can be helpful. Identify people that we know they have a lot on their plate, but we can recognize that they are also, trying to do the best they can. So, having that compassion for them, but also seeking help. Hey, my person really needs their pain medication. They're, 30 minutes behind or whatever it is. So, be a strong advocate, but do it kindly and acknowledging with compassion that your person that you're dealing with probably also has a lot on their plate. So be a strong advocate. And if you're starting to get into a situation where you're just really concerned that your patient is not getting what they need, use the patient advocacy. So a patient advocate is a social worker who is, basically appointed by the hospital and there's more than one, there's lots of patient advocates. And if you can't find the patient advocate on your hospital's website, contact the Patient Advocate Foundation. So that person can be kind of the go-between with administration to make sure that your person's rights are being protected. So that is an important thing to use. I also sometimes use punch the social worker on call for the hospital button. And sometimes I'll even make a review to the ethics committee, in particular when we're talking about roommate situations, inappropriate roommate situations. And I don't want to go too off field on that, but a lot of times when I make that ethics review request or make a referral to the social worker on call, those issues can be addressed relatively quickly. So that is number 1. Number 2, make sure that your person is not on observation status. We need them to be admitted, and the importance of that cannot be overstated. There needs to be a 72-hour stay in the hospital, and that means admitted for 72 hours, in order for Medicare to provide 100 days of Medicare coverage in a rehabilitative bed. So it is really important that if they say, "Oh, we don't know what it is, we're going to put them on observation status to start," no. And now there's a bunch of federal laws that really have strict criteria for when someone can go on observation status, and it's not very often. So that would be one of those situations where you might want to get your patient advocate involved, make a request for the ethics committee to review those issues. And then, of course, being present overnight, if that's possible, can be very helpful if your person needs to go to the bathroom. We know that staffing is short right now. So really, you just be present in the hospital as much as you can. And I can tell you, when my mom had pancreatic cancer, we just made sure that there was someone with her all the time. So if that's possible for you, then go ahead and do that. Number 3, when it's time for discharge, don't go with the first referral for discharge and just accept that as the place where our person should land. Be critical. Reviews are important. Go online, look at the reviews, see if there have been any complaints filed against this facility. And then if you have time, go take a smell test. Show up unannounced and just take a peek around if that's possible. It's really important that we vet the potential rehab bed, because the discharge social worker's job is to get the person out of the bed. They have a lot of, insecurity that the person in the bed will continue to have coverage from Medicare. So they're trying to work as quickly as they can to get the person out. And sometimes that means using the relationships that they already have with certain facilities, because it's an easy transition for them to get the person out, but that may not be the best placement for our person. Finally, make sure that the medical records transfer with our person. That means any advance directives get moved. But most importantly is the prescriptions. So a lot of times the facility may take some time to get the prescriptions filled, and get our patient on their medication schedule. So make sure that you have enough medications to last and that there's coordination, like make sure that that's done. So that brings me to the last one, which is number 5, make contact with the administrators. Find out who the nurse is going to be on your person's wing, and then, make that contact. Here's a good question to ask. How many CNAs are there per patient? If it's 1 to 17, that should be a red flag. We can't have one person taking care of 17 patients, right? So some of those things really become important when you're deciding where a person is going to be placed. But knowing medical records are being transferred, getting prescriptions filled, making sure that our person is going to have an easy and smooth transition into that new bed. And when you contact the administrator, and again, that's number 5 on the list, make sure that you have a care plan meeting ready to go. So you want to have a care plan meeting. You should be present as the healthcare advocate for our person, and just, really make sure, like, what is the plan for our person? Like, what are the things that they have as far as goals to get our person back on their feet? And then, of course, remember your 100 days of Medicare. If you've been in the hospital for 72 hours or more, then you're entitled to that 100 days. So take advantage of it. Allow our person to rest and recover. Allow them to kind of, recover also, not just their physical injuries, but also their brain from being under anesthesia if that was necessary. These are really important, like, kind of quick tools. Don't forget also that if you do get a discharge notice, they have to give you 72 hours before the actual discharge. It needs to be in writing, and go ahead and appeal. And don't just appeal one time, not just 2 times, sometimes not even just 3 times. Appeal all the way to the fair hearing level, so that, you remember that standard for discharge is the therapy no longer causing our patient to improve. The standard under the Jimmo case, which is almost 10 years old now, is the therapy causing our patient to decline? Okay, that's a lot of quick information. One thing I would like to encourage you, if this feels overwhelming, is to think about using a life care planning attorney. We have elder care coordinators on staff, and we're all over the United States. So you can always get on the Life Care Planning Law Firm Association and look for a referral near you. Otherwise, elder law attorneys, geriatric care managers can also be great resources for you. And if you're like, no, I want to do it myself, then I hope these tools are useful to you, and good luck out there. I'm Shannon. I did want to add one more thing to the end of this video, and that is, I've been requested a couple of times now to go live to answer questions for people. And I'm gonna take that up. I'm probably gonna spend, a half an hour to an hour answering your questions in a live event. So we'll start publicizing that in the next week or so. So if that's something like you're like, I have questions, but I can't afford an attorney, great. We're gonna try and answer those questions. So stay tuned, and I'm happy to provide that service. Okay. All right. Talk to you soon.